Thing that I think makes Clarissa incredibly unique is her plethora of experience. Who else do you know out there that has studied haute couture, that has been a fashion designer, an internationally renowned fashion designer with her own clothing label, that has been on the covers of Vogue and all these other magazines? She's styled superstars in Australia. She's an artist, and she has such an ability to bring her entire expertise plus her business savvy. I mean, she's an entrepreneur at heart. She knows the world that we all are navigating, and she can bring all of that into an experience with you that's truly designed to give you the best of the best. When I think of Clarissa, I think of ultimate high class. Not that she's snobby or anything like that, right? It's that she just knows how to envelop you in an experience that is completely exclusive, but also incredibly inclusive of all parts of you. Whether you're scared, you're nervous, you're excited, you're totally confident, it doesn't matter, because she makes room for all of that and gives you an unparalleled experience where you are just able to walk away with a brand that you are able to represent visually that is like no other. And it has this feeling, I mean, we talk about, her being the Coco Chanel of personal style and branding. It's because she has that high quality touch to everything that she does. And I don't know of a single other person out there that has such a rich combination of expertise, plus the business savvy, plus her incredible heart that just envelops you in this world-class experience. And Clarissa's got all of them. Hi, I'm Dr. Gladys Ato. I'm a clinical psychologist and a mentor to the next generation of leaders, where I help experts elevate their authority and become true industry leaders. Was so ready to work with Clarissa because I know that she's the best of the best when it comes to style, when it comes to taking that and infusing it in your business so that you have a brand that actually represents the beauty of all of who you are, both inside and out, but that's woven into everything that you do to visually present your business to the world, with her amazing background and all her expertise that she just infuses into just such a beautiful editing eye, but just also her ability to know exactly how to make you look your most magnificent self in your business. So Clarissa's whole process helps you figure out, number one, what your universal style is. And for me, that was such an awesome point of being able to get clarity on what my style is, not only for me personally, but what I wanted my style to look like, from everything from my business to even my home and how I decorate. So we came from looking at the universal style and then being able to take that as a template to be able to define what my brand style would be. And that not only can get infused in the colors that I use on my website or the photos that I take, but also the clothing that I wear. So for example, what I'm wearing today is represented in my brand style that Clarissa helped me nail down, which was such an amazing process, so that I don't have to second guess it. I don't have to worry about what it looks like. I just literally get to go back to this template that she created with me, and from there have fun playing with different variations of it. But everything has a unique look to it that is synthesized and woven in throughout. So it doesn't look scattered here and there and piecemeal. And that's truly what makes it so amazingly unique, is that Clarissa is taking your brand to a whole nother level where it truly is $1 million brand that is world class. One thing that's been a struggle for me, because I've always loved style, was not knowing how to actually bring it into my business. How there be consistency so that everything's flowing together. And that really does take a very artistic eye. It takes a strong editing eye to know how all the different elements can work together to create a cohesive look. And we might think that that only applies to style in terms of what you wear, but it's just as applicable in terms of your website, how you speak, and how the energy that you present yourself with, that's matching the energy that you want to create in terms of first impression with your clothing that you're wearing. And Clarissa just knows how to weave all those pieces in together in such a beautiful way. And even us going through the process of creating my color palette, this is where I got a little stuck and frustrated because I love everything. Like I love black as much as I love white, as much as I love pastels, and I love bright colors. The synthesis of it all was missing. And when Clarissa helped me figure out what color scheme to start using to represent my brand, I was blown away by the results because I didn't want to leave anything out. I felt like all of the colors represented me, but what she helped me do was realize that there was a foundation that we could start with, and that foundation became what I then center everything else around. So finding those colors that were going to be my brand colors was so amazing, especially when we started to pick out and edit the different photos and the different visual representations of what my brand could look like and stand for. That was infused with the energy I wanted to communicate to other people, but it really just had this like high class touch to it. It was so me. I mean, the one part about me that I love is that I'm Latina and I've got these amazing roots, but I didn't know how to weave that in. And all of a sudden, the colors that we picked, it nailed it every single way possible. And it doesn't mean I have to leave any color out, but I now have a way to refine what I choose to represent my business with visually by going back to that color scheme. And that has been such a relief because even if I'm doing something like Instagram and I really want to have a curated look, I can go back to my color palette and make sure that it fits in with there. As I'm getting ready even to paint my office, I can go to my color palette and look at, okay, what colors would really mesh with it well, so that there's a story that's being told visually, not just randomness happening and me hoping nobody pays attention because I have something brilliant to say. People are paying attention to everything, and this is just such a beautiful way to really start to up-level how you communicate, not just verbally or through what you put on your website, but also how you visually represent yourself to other people. So after working with Clarissa, I was able to go shopping and start to really be discerning in the pieces of my wardrobe that I brought home that would actually be what I wear on behalf of my brand. This has made such an impact, and it was pretty amazing how quickly it happened. I have been doing Facebook Lives for a number of months and absolutely love them, but I also really got in that whole rut of the messy bun and the sweats, or having the pajama bottoms and some nice top, but kind of just skating by at the bare minimum. It felt like a little bit of work to get all dolled up. And after going through this process with Clarissa and feeling into how the clothing made me feel and realizing that I could buy something beautiful and have it really amplify my brand, it's been so much fun to actually start to play around with everything and put it into action. And now Facebook Lives, people literally are messaging me privately to say, you look gorgeous, or what's different about you? I love your new, somebody said, I love your new look. I'm like, what happened? What new look? And realizing that this was part of it, right? Is that there is a cohesiveness in regards to how I was communicating my brand and my message, from what I said verbally to also how I looked visually. And everything is starting to come together in such a beautiful way. And I feel lit up about it. That's what's making me so happy, is that now when I go to put on my clothing each day, I'm thinking about how I want to feel. And this is such a big part of Clarissa's message. How do you want to feel? And let that guide you in what you choose to wear versus feeling how you are wearing, which if you're wearing the messy bun and the sweats and the stained t-shirt, you're not going to be feeling so hot. So it's made a big difference. And I just love how playful it's becoming again for me to be able to get dressed up and really let my brand shine through how I represent myself visually. So your photos are such an important asset for your business, especially when you're starting off, because you don't want to have all the bells and whistles at the beginning, especially if you don't know exactly where your business is going to flourish into. But photos, those are priceless, because one photo can completely transform a message that you're trying to get across to the world. So if you have a photo shoot, right, that is completely nailing your brand message, and it's completely shining a light on your beautifulness and your personality and all of that, and it's seamless, that's going to be able to take you so far to where you don't need to invest in like the tens and thousands of dollars to create this crazy complicated website. right? These photos become the biggest asset that you can have, and you can use them not only on your website, but on social media. If you actually start to get published in media outlets, you know, your headshots become very important. All of these really take into consideration the fact that we judge people visually first. And this is something that is really hard to understand, but it's very true. It kind of sucks, but it's the truth out there, is that people are going to judge you on how you look first, and then they're going to judge you based on what they hear from you. So photos become a really powerful way to make a positive impression on behalf of your business that invites people to want to learn more about you. And that's something that Clarissa has just such an artful eye around to make sure that it is spot on. Photo shoots. Oh my goodness. I've done a number of photo shoots on behalf of my business. And, you know, I'm thinking of one in particular. I was so excited for this photo shoot. I knew exactly what I wanted to communicate in my brand, or so I thought I knew. And I pulled out some of my favorite pieces from my wardrobe. I mean, these are pieces that I absolutely adore. And to me, they're works of art. Well, a work of art doesn't always translate to what you should be wearing in a photo shoot. And I learned that the hard way. So I had this beautiful jacket that I love. I was out and I wanted to be in nature because I love nature. And at the same time, I'm very edgy and I've got this like city girl feel to me. And I wore this gorgeous jacket and was out in nature against a big redwood tree. Well, I ended up looking like a freaking gorilla because this jacket was, number one, it was black. Okay, black does not always translate in a photo shoot well, but it was so architectural and it had layers and layers and layers and layers, which made me look like just one big hairy gorilla. And then my big curls were all over. It was so terrible and it was so sad, because I was so excited about this photo shoot and I really wanted these photos to capture what I envisioned as the message that I wanted to communicate on behalf of my business. And it was a flop. So photo shoots matter. Just because you have pieces in your closet that you adore doesn't always translate into them being the best pieces for a shoot. But when you have a strong editing eye on your side, like Clarissa Grace, you're not going to run into mistakes like me of becoming a big gorilla on camera. You're going to be able to nail the look that you want. It's going to be seamless, and you're going to feel freaking gorgeous throughout it all. Big dreams around what I was creating, and I wanted it to be the best, right? I mean, I don't think any of us go into this experience wanting it to be a flop. We want it to be the best expression of ourselves and our brilliance and what we have to offer the world. And the whole branding process, little secret, I went through 2 major branding processes where I shelled out tens and thousands of dollars. And I fired one of them. And then the other one, I basically like took what they had and I just went on and I actually created my own website. It was such a frustrating experience because I didn't feel that either process fully captured all of me and my essence, right? Like the one thing that Clarissa really speaks about so beautifully is the beauty that we have inside and bringing that out and letting that be a very natural expression of our magical gifts. And if you're starting at the beginning of your business and you want it to be the best, there's no reason you shouldn't invest in the best from the start. Because when you do, and when you realize that what you have to offer the world is going to be something that people will judge visually, number one, first, then and cognitively through what you have to say, it's going to take a minute for you to start to figure out that the visual representation of your business is just as, if not more important than anything else at the beginning. And one way to do that without feeling like you have to go through this really crazy process or even like the whole branding process that's like nightmarish is to recognize that there are ways that you can actually make a very impactful, amazing visual presence, right, on your behalf, like have a really strong visual message to communicate through elements like your style, your personal style, through elements like having that color scheme for your business. And all these elements are actually things that are really fun to dive into when you're being guided in a process and by a person that knows how to make it fun and creative. I'm such a big believer that this whole entrepreneurial journey, I get that it's hard, but it doesn't have to be mortifying. It doesn't have to be something that burns you out or that feels hard to the point where it's taxing. It can actually be very inspiring. And Clarissa just has a beautiful way of making this process inspiring and uplifting and energizing, because the one thing you need right now as you're getting ready to share your gifts with the world is to be energized about it. You need to be super excited about it to the point where you're just going to talk about it effortlessly, and you're super proud to show off your brand and your website and your clothing, all of it. They all go together. You want to be super excited about that, because that energy will immediately attract the right people to you. And that's where you have that je ne sais quoi about you, to keep the French in here. It's that little something about you that people don't know exactly what it is. That's you magnified and all your beauty. And that's exactly what Clarissa provides. And for you to get your hands on her amazingness from the very beginning of your business, it's going to make a transformational difference for what this journey can look like for you. Thank you.